The mystery of the ghost taxi in New York. In 2018, New York City was bustling as always. The night was cold, and the streets were lit only by flickering traffic lights and the glow of Times Square billboards. Marco, a young taxi driver, was finishing his late shift, tired and thinking about his bed. As he drove down a side street in Brooklyn, he received a strange ride request. Take me to Maple Street, number 77. The address was in a neighborhood he rarely worked, a place with old buildings and almost deserted streets. Upon arrival, he saw a young woman, dressed in office clothes, drenched from the rain, raising her hand to hail the taxi. Her face seemed familiar, but Marco couldn't place it. She got in without a word and gestured slightly for him to continue driving. Midway through the ride, the taxi radio began to malfunction, emitting static and barely audible voices. Marco assumed it was interference until he clearly heard, "Help me, please." The voice was identical to the woman's. Marco looked at the back seat, but she was completely silent, staring ahead. Nervous, he sped up. The voice whispered again, "Don't leave me here." When they finally arrived at Maple Street, number 77, no one was there. The house was empty, with dark windows and a dusty mailbox. Marco looked back at the woman only to discover she had vanished. The seat was empty, and her wet jacket, which had been draped over the seat back, was gone. Terrified, Marco checked the taxi's ride log. The address didn't exist on any map. His GPS showed a dead-end alley where Maple Street was supposedly located. Confused, he drove back to the city, but the memory of the voice and the feeling of being watched never left him. The next day, while reviewing old news, Marco discovered a case. A woman had disappeared in Brooklyn exactly 10 years earlier, at the same street, the same number. Her description matched the woman who had entered his taxi, and her case was never solved. Since then, Marco never accepted rides to that area. Some say his taxi continues to witness nighttime apparitions, where passengers who do not exist get in, whisper, and vanish like ghosts of the city.